What's up, people? What's going on? So I'm going to answer questions. I'm going to start answering comments with videos. It's just so much easier for me. Plus, I like doing it. Every time somebody leaves a comment asking a question about something, I go into video creation mode. Like somebody asked about, do I worry about my generator being stolen out of the box? And I recorded the thing 17 times, then ran out of daylight. Then the next day, I recorded it again. And then I go to edit it, and everything's got to be special. And look, if people just want information, they just want to connect, and I understand that. But I'm trying to break away from my OCD of videos need to be a certain way. I just want to connect with people, and that's it. And I definitely want to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can make YouTube stories. If I could do that, I would be like, oh my God, I would make so many stories a day. You guys would probably be just annoyed. Because there's so many things that happen throughout the day and the week. Like right now, I'm sitting in a hotel. Why? Because my house is in the shop. Again, getting a transmission swapped from the warranty. Whole nother video. So today I'm going to talk about David's question. He asked a lot of them, but we're going to answer one, which is, what would I do differently? Or would I get a different van? Or, you know, knowing what I know now. Very loaded question. I'm very biased to my van. I love my van. So there's a couple little things here. One, if we decide to keep the van. So we go back in time, I got all this knowledge, transmission fails, and I know the motor's gonna die, then I'm going to get a 700 R4. Obviously the motor's not gonna die because I'm gonna know it's gonna die, and then I'm going to prevent that from happening, whatever. But let's just go with it. I'm gonna get a 700 R4. And then at that point, I'd probably go carbureted. If I didn't replace the motor, or if I did, it wouldn't really matter. I would get 700 R4, non-electronic transmission, and I would go full carburation on the motor because it would be 10 times easier with a non-electronic motor. I could do fully carbureted motor right now as we speak on my 98 Chevy Vortec. The only problem is the motor, the transmission relies on the crankshaft position sensor and the throttle position sensor in order to shift. That can easily be wired and bypassed, but that's not really a good feeling when you're bypassing things. Even though it works, I got tons of videos on YouTube that I have saved that make it work. However, also, what kind of van would I get? I would really like to get probably something, I would probably went something 70s, early 80s, okay? Definitely, I would prefer the 70s. I love that era. I kind of always did, sort of. If, let's just say this, your typical 70s era van with the Krager rims and the side exhaust and all that stuff. If I was like 19, 20, 21 and those years, I would be early 90s. I would be ecstatic. Like, why I never had a van? Probably because my father owned a store and there was a cargo van that I drove pretty much religiously every single day for many, many, many years from 91 on. I don't know. I guess maybe because I had a van, but to have my own van, I don't know. My mind was more on a Mustang. So I would go 70s on the van or early 80s, something like that. Something where it's really simple, carbureted, non-electronic transmissions. I can do whatever I want. And I don't have catalytic converter. Maybe I do. If I do, whatever. The van is so old. Here in Massachusetts, 15 years old, no more emissions. They don't check for emissions. You are exempt from emissions in Massachusetts after 15 years of age. So I am 22 years of age. So in Nevada, for example, where I really want to be, within the confines of the city or close to the city, Las Vegas, emissions are pre-1967, so, or 68, I think. So like 1967 in earlier, smog test. 1968 and newer, I mean smog test, opposite, older, non-smog test. So I'm like, okay, I got a long ways to go. So that's not gonna work. And that might apply to antiques. You know, scratch that. Never mind. I don't know. It's a very long time. It's definitely not 15 years. It's older. So there's that. Older van. Also, a Class C. Had I known it was going to be so long-term like this, I didn't have a plan. I've said it before. I just looked at an ad and I just seen solar panels, a van, scrolling through all the photos, and I'm like, that looks fun. This is fun. Oh my God, I'm getting the van. I'm getting out of this situation. I'm gonna go be free inside the van. No neighbors. I can be as loud as I want. I can go where I want. My house is paid for in full. I got no rent. I got no utilities. Little did I know I had utilities. But doing it all over long term, I would have got a Class C, minimum, Class C, and I would have drove west, 100%. I could even went south, but I'd go west. Dry, yes, it's yes, but then there's too dry, which it is, and then your skin cracks and you bleed to death from no skin. But anyways, west, Class C, on the outskirts of Las Vegas, living in the desert, coming to the city like a raccoon coming into a backyard. No, I don't know. It definitely, probably something in terms of an RV, whether it's a fifth wheel, whether it's a Class C, whether it's a full RV, I don't care. Living in Quartzsite, Arizona, living in Nevada at a you know, a resort, RV resort, something of that nature. That's probably what I would do or would have done. However, if we're sticking to the question, I would have still chose the van because van options. However, at the same time, see, I keep saying that because I'm being biased and I'm trying to break it right here in the video. No, knowing what I know, I would go older, non-electronic, non-fuel injection, carbureted vehicle. I could do whatever I want, easier swaps, much simpler build and design on a lot of things. Dash, instrument panel, if it's old enough, we're gonna be mechanical. We're literally gonna have a cable coming from the transmission to the speedometer. No electronics, just less electronics, right? Simple, temperature, oil pressure, battery, basics. And you can add more, obviously, if you want. That's the route I would go. However, I love my van. I love the 98 Chevy Express that I have. I like the shape of it. The design, you know, with the black windows looks got a little attitude to it, you know? The smushed in grills of the older Chevys and, you know what I'm talking about. They look like pugs, right? I'm not the greatest fan, but I'm not like, ew. Again, you got a whole hot rod thing going on, and you got the customization factor would be far greater. If I owned a 1972, I'm throwing out numbers. Let's say 1975, whatever. I don't know what the models were, like G20, G10, 2030s. I don't know if they were C10, 2030. I have no idea. No, G's, right? Something like that. If I wanted a chrome or a billet aluminum grill, it's going to be far easier to get that than it would for a 98 Chevy Express. I know, because I've looked. You know, so the customization factors would have been far greater. I would have been much happier. The build out would have been more fun. I just got a conversion van, ripped out the seats, threw on a bed, and I didn't do anything. Like, I literally did nothing. So building out a van from that era would have been more fun. That's what I would have done. But my biggest thing is fuel injection. I mean, I love fuel injection. I know what it does. Fuel economy, you know, computer is constantly taking care of your air-fuel ratio for you every second as you drive. And, of course, easier starts in the winter and you don't have to pump the gas and play with chokes. Absolutely. But I'm willing to sacrifice all that to have the simplicity of turning a key, starting a vehicle, and go. And if something fails, it's going to be a battery, a starter, an alternator, a coil, a solenoid, a fuel pump if it's electric, but mechanical. I mean, they can fail, but you know what I mean. I mean, it's basic. Oh, ignition switch. So there's that, you know. But I have power windows. I have, you know, fuel injection. I mean, I don't like carburetors. I mean, I don't like fuel injection. I'm sorry. I'm babbling at this point. I don't like fuel injection. I want a carbureted engine because I wanted to live simpler. I chose to live in a van just to get away from people and do my own thing and not have to pay bills. That was it. And it was fun. Now, long term, I'm like, I want to live as simple as I possibly can. I don't want to deal with P0300 random cylinder misfires. I'd rather have a carburetor where I'm like, yeah, this ain't running right. Check the timing, you know, check spark, fuel delivery. Like, that's it. Like, that's what's going to cause it. Easy fix, easy to tune. Yeah. Want to get really simple? Just get an all-out manual transmission in a van. Get a gearbox. Who wants a shift? But, you know, yeah, automatics, hydraulics, breakdowns, bands, clutches. No. Anyways, that's it. That's my answer. I know it's very convoluted and messy, but it is a messy question. It's a little loaded question because I love my van as is. I'd still want an older van to avoid the electronics. I'd also want a Class C where I can just live. I got a bathroom, a kitchen. I'm standing up. I got a bedroom. Like, I'm living. I'm living in a van comfortably, happy and peacefully. So a Class C would really, like, Class C in the West, you know, desert boundaries, definitely like something like Quartzsite, Arizona, and I would think much more long term. But if we were just talking about the 1998 Chevy Express that I currently own, knowing what I know, I'd go back when the transmission originally failed. I would have got 700 R4 to avoid the electronics, and then when the motor died, 100% slapping an intake on it with a carburetor, with an HEI distributor, and I would have called it a life right then and there, and I'd be just as content as I am right now. Even though I can't do that, yes, but I just spent a whole bunch of money on a fuel injection upgrade, and it would really hurt to just go do all that. It doesn't really feel good, bypassing things just to get the transmission to shift, and I don't like that feeling, you know? Like, you kind of, even though it works, and people do it by the hundreds, it's done, it's proven, still it's not a good feeling. That's not the way the transmission wants to work, you know? Thanks for watching. Thanks for the comment. Leave more so I can make more videos. Thanks. Peace out, man.